second pick will be made by the That means that the number 1 pick in the 2025 NBA draft goes to the Dallas Mavericks.
Well, it seemed like a genuine reaction, I think. Despite having just a 1.8% chance, the Dallas Mavericks landed the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. The team who traded Luka now has a chance to draft a potential superstar in Cooper Flagg. The San Antonio Spurs and Philadelphia 76ers also moved up, picking 2nd and 3rd, respectively. Let's welcome in our Bill Reiter now. Now, Bill, you were sequestered in a room where the lottery took place. What were the reactions inside that room and any potential fallout from the lottery as we inch closer to the NBA offseason?
Yeah, Jenny, so the way it works is they have numbers 1 to 14 in a lottery machine. They pick 4 numbers, and you have to go through this huge stack of papers to see what team is assigned those exact 4 numbers. And when we all, I think at the same time, got to the conclusion that it was the Dallas Mavericks an hour and a half before everyone else found out, the reaction was people being shocked and stupefied. There were gasps from the dais to my left where there were some GMs who did not get that pick. There were some swear words that I won't say here on CBS Sports HQ. People were stunned, and the fallout is massively significant. I mean, obviously, whether you think he deserves it or not, this gives Nico Harrison, the GM that we just saw in Dallas, celebrating a reset, a restart. And there's interesting questions, including, is there a world where the Mavericks look to try and just win now? There are certainly people here in Chicago who think Nico is under enough pressure with that Luka trade that maybe he'd entertain a Giannis Antetokounmpo for Cooper Flagg trade. That's a possibility. I think there's other spots that make more sense for Giannis, other teams that maybe can offer more, but the world is suddenly Dallas's oyster because of this pick. They have so many choices after being the laughingstock of the NBA even 24 hours ago.
Oh, this certainly does change things, Bill Reiter. We're going to dive deeper into what this means for the teams moving forward. We've taken a look at the lowest odds to win the NBA lottery. You see the Mavericks right there. 2025, that's what we just watched go down last night. 1.8%. There's a question mark on who they're going to pick, but we all know it is going to be Cooper Flagg.
Yeah, and of course, to Bill's point, Jenny, it could be, you know, some sort of a trade to get Giannis, who knows, but if it all goes to plan where Cooper Flagg lands in Dallas, let's talk about it. We have Ashley Nicole Moss and Roy Hibbert back with us here. It's not that often where we see a two-way superstar potential player like Cooper Flagg go to a really nice situation like Dallas right now, right? Because you're thinking he's going to play with a healthy AD, a healthy Kyrie, Klay Thompson there, so they could win, right? Ashley, you're shaking your head, but how do you foresee that fit moving forward here with Cooper Flagg right there with those players?
I mean, look, Cooper Flagg, he's going to do great in the market of Dallas, first of all. He's an all-American kid. You know, he's not a foreign player. Everyone's kind of been grasping at straws for the next face of the league and the next superstar of the NBA, and, you know, all those have been foreign players up until this point. Now you have Cooper Flagg. He has the opportunity to be that from Rhode Island, went to Duke, the brotherhood. It's perfect on paper. The draft lottery for me, last night, you know, the conspiracy theories that have always been out there, I never really bought into them. But after last night,
now you're buying it.
The draft lottery is just absolutely broken. This is not okay. You know what I mean? 1.8% chance of landing that pick. The draft lottery is supposed to make teams not want to tank, but the way that the CBA is formulated now, it's almost impossible for these teams not to tank. The draft lottery is supposed to award teams and help teams out that are struggling to rebuild or in markets that maybe necessarily don't land those big free agents, like Utah, like Washington, you know, like some of the other markets that have been struggling these recent years. And the primary goal is to help those teams get better. And each and every year, we see that the lottery fails to do that. Since 2019, the team in the league with the worst record has never landed the #1 pick. They have constantly been fifth. So I'm wondering, then what is the lottery for? Because if the lottery is going to go to, the #1 pick is going to go to a team via the lottery that was just in the play-in, that traded away one of the greatest players that we have seen so far, and then gets rewarded with the #1 pick to get a generational two-way player coming out of college, then if you're Utah and you're Washington, you're like, well, what are we supposed to do now?
Yeah.
It's just, the system is broken. broken. It's just not fair. Everyone wants to knock tanking and say teams shouldn't tank, but the only real way to even stand a chance is to just strip your entire team down, basically give up in the season, and hope to the basketball gods that you're rewarded in a lottery that has shown 9 times out of 10 won't reward you anyway. It just doesn't make any sense.
Really quickly before we get to Roy, what do you think is fair? What would be fair?
A team like the Dallas Mavericks should not even be in contention to land a top 4 pick. There should be some sort of a cutoff. If you have low odds like that, there is no way that you should even be able to, whatever the algorithm is, the algorithm needs to be adjusted to where a team with that low of odds to land a top 4 pick or the number 1 pick should not even be in contention to crack out of the top 5. It has to be adjusted. The way that this system is set up is just not fair to other franchises and other organizations in the league. It's just not.
Well, I'm here for it. I love the chaos. I love it. This is going to go down as the same thing as when David Stern, pulled out the envelope and the New York Knicks got that frozen envelope that said Patrick Ewing, my guy, who I'm actually going to text after this series and talk trash Pacers, Knicks, and everything like that. But I think Cooper Flagg is going to go into a situation where he's going to be able to play and not have to feel like the weight of the whole franchise on him. I think about it like Tim Duncan when he first got into the league. He went to a Spurs team that was already established, had David Robinson, so he's going to be able to learn and be able to pick up some good habits. He's going to have a really good future if he does stay with Dallas. Nico, he had a rough go. I understand, how people feel about the fact that they're getting this opportunity after squandering one. But I think after seeing how the Lakers played, maybe Nico and Dallas Mavericks knew something that we didn't know. But I'm all here for it. Why keep giving bad teams like the Wizards the top picks when they're just going to squander it anyway? I'm all for it. This is going to make the NBA better, more exciting. And those other teams, if they, like you said, Ashley, if they want to do that, they can go through the Philly way and just go through the process and then just strip their team to the worst, and you see what happens. So at least with this, it mixes it up, makes it a little bit of spiciness into the league. So I like it.
And look what that process did for Philly.
Why are you shaking your head?
Because you go through the process of trying to rebuild the ethical way in the NBA. You go out there and you compete. You don't try to tank. And I know tanking is like a taboo thing. Teams tank, let's be honest, okay? So you go through the process and you try to get players through free agency. You try to get players in the offseason. You still go out there and put your best foot forward. And look at Philly. They continue to still fail. And that's a different conversation. Philly has their own bag of issues. But my whole thing is like the only way for teams to really recover from bad situations is to strip their team and tank. But then the draft lottery, which is supposed to help them rebuild, doesn't even do that. So it's like, well, what's the option for teams that are trying to go through the process of rebuild? It's very backwards. It's very, very backwards.
I want to ask about the Spurs next. So they are the second biggest winner of the lottery after securing that number 2 overall pick. Now, we all know that Giannis has come out and said that he is open to going to a new destination, a new spot. Do the Spurs have the picks plus the players to land a guy like Giannis?
Absolutely. And I said on this set that with Jacqueline, we did a segment, and then all of a sudden everybody started hopping on my bandwagon. Just kidding. Just kidding. I always thought San Antonio and Giannis made perfect sense. Having him and Wemby would be a unicorn duo. You already have the point guard in De'Aaron Fox. You have the defense in both Giannis and Wemby. You also have that offense. Getting that second pick would help Milwaukee do what they should be trying to do, and that is rebuild. You have Damian Lillard. He's going to opt in. He has that $50+ million player option coming off an Achilles, being of a certain age. No way he's turning that down. The Spurs do have a nice young pool of players to choose from to also ship to Milwaukee. But that second pick in the draft is gold to an organization like Milwaukee that can lose and will probably lose a generational player, an MVP player, a Hall of Famer, a champion in Giannis. This is exactly what would be needed to send Giannis elsewhere and to give Milwaukee what they would need in return.
For me, I'm going to say people in the Milwaukee front office, so I'm going to tiptoe across this right here. But I would hate to see, Giannis leave. But I don't think that Giannis and being on the Spurs would probably be the best in terms of the development of Wemby and everything. I feel like they kind of clash with each other. Giannis doesn't shoot the ball really well. I think they play with such space. But Giannis obviously is a force on the offensive end on the fast break, so it could be exciting at times. But I feel like the mix of the two offense could be a little bit of an issue. But at the same time, I wish that the Milwaukee Bucks were able to move some things around. Obviously, the trades they made for Kuzma, sending Middleton away, did not help. But at the same time, he's a generational talent. You got to find some way to make it, make it happen. Because I don't think they want to lose him. I don't think he wants to leave either.
Roy Ash, we certainly appreciate it. We're talking about the NBA Draft Lottery, where if you like it or not, if you have a 1.8% chance of getting the #1 overall pick, it can actually happen. You can hear more from Ash on her show Triple Threat. You can watch full episodes right now on YouTube. Make it easy and scan that QR code on your screen.